taking the podium will be President Wayne Richardson.
Good evening, everyone. To the County Exec, Joe DiVincenzo, our constitutional officers, my fellow commissioners, our honorees, and all who have assembled here today, and all who are watching via live stream. I'm Wayne Richardson, President of the Essex County Board of County Commissioners, and on behalf of the board, I welcome you to our annual Jewish Heritage Month celebration. We look forward to this event every year as it gives us an opportunity to recognize one of the important communities that contribute to our county's greatest strength, the diversity of our people. Last year, due to COVID-19 gathering restrictions, our Jewish Heritage event was held virtually. Thankfully, through the diligent work of our county leadership, we are now able to resume holding events in person. So on behalf of the board, welcome back. We recognize May as Jewish Heritage Month. However, we know that everyday Jewish Americans are hard at work making a difference in their communities. And the history of the Jewish people in New Jersey, and in Newark in particular, is very strong. In fact, the neighborhood where my wife Antoinette and I reside, the Weequahic section of Newark, was a Jewish community from the 1930s through the 1960s. A little known fact is that the Newark Jews actively fought the Nazis who dared to rally in Newark, New Jersey. Yeah. This evening, the commissioners have selected deserving individuals we have the pleasure of honoring, who are making a difference in their communities. Next, we're going to have the singing of the Star Spangled Banner and the Hatikva, performed by Perry Smilo, the cantorial soloist.
Thank you very much. If you're able, I invite you to rise, and please join me. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? We remain standing for the national anthem of the State of Israel. It's called Hatikva, and in English the translation is the hope. I'd actually like to read to you in this quickly the words in English so you know what it is that I'm singing. The hope. As long as in the heart within the Jewish soul yearns and toward the eastern edges, our eyes gaze towards Israel. Our hope is not yet lost, the hope that is 2,000 years old, to be a free nation in a free land, in the land of Israel and Jerusalem. If you know the words, I invite you to sing with me. Kolot balevav penimach nefesh Yehudi homiyah ulfatei mizrach kadima ayin letzion Sophia. Oh, lo avta tikvateinu, ha-tikva machnot alpayim, liot amchafshi be'artzeinu, Eretz Zion, Yerushalayim, liot amchafshi be'artzeinu, Eretz Zion, Yerushalayim.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Commissioner at Large, Patricia Siebold, and I'm happy to take part in our annual Jewish Heritage Month program. I'm proud to be a Jewish American and delighted to be one of the catalysts for the board's celebration. Tonight, we recognize the accomplishments of Jewish men and women everywhere and honor outstanding Essex County citizens for their contributions to our country and to society as a whole. Essex County is a very, very diverse county here in New Jersey, and I am proud to be part of that diversity. We will resume our program with an opening prayer from Rabbi David Weisberg of Temple B'nai Abraham, which is located in my hometown of Livingston, and of which I am a member. And Rabbi David Weisberg came to Temple B'nai Abraham, I guess it was in about 2019, and I was proud to be there when he was introduced to the temple. And he is a wonderful, wonderful rabbi and a great benefit to our community. So please welcome Rabbi Weisberg to the podium.
As a community, we're even more blessed to have Commissioner Siebold at Temple B'nai Abraham. So what a privilege and honor it is to be here with such incredible, illustrious people. After this week of hate throughout our nation, it is indeed a blessing to be able to gather together, to celebrate heritage, to celebrate diversity, to celebrate the richness of this nation, of so many who come from different backgrounds to join together. We as the Jewish community are blessed to live in a country that has welcomed Jews from all over the world and offered us the opportunity to build new lives. And we are blessed to be able to join our religious and cultural traditions with the American people, to be able to practice our religion, our beliefs freely. And this has not always been the case, and there continue to be those who wish for this to not be the case. It is a wonderful coincidence that this celebration of Jewish Heritage Month falls on the Jewish mystical holiday of Lag BaOmer, where we celebrate among other things, the life of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, who is known to have opened up to us the world of mystical secrets through the writing of the Zohar. And this festival, this is one of my favorite festivals because we celebrate it with bonfires and barbecues and weddings and dancing and music. And there's an incredible story and teaching of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai where in the Roman period when he was fleeing persecution, he and his son sought refuge in a cave. And there was a miracle where a carob tree was grown at the entrance to the cave to offer protection to hide them, and he and his son Eliezer were protected and nourished from the water of a spring and the carob from the trees, and they studied Torah all day long for 12 years in this cave. And then they were told there was a change of government. It is safe to come out, and they came out, and they saw people doing mundane things. You know, they were farming the ground, and having been isolated, they developed this extreme perspective and were told that wherever Rabbi Bar Yochai looked, those spots burned up because he was so filled with rage. And there was a voice that came from above, and that voice said, "You're not ready to re-enter this world. That rage does not have a place here." And so he and his son went back into the cave for another 12 months, and then they came out, and he saw people living sacred lives while practicing the life of the land, the life that needed to be for them to get through the days. And he understood that true holiness is lived when that holiness is brought into the world around us. When we live lives as part of society, recognizing that our holy work is here. And so at that, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai and Rabbi Eliezer, his son, they were ready to join the world as great teachers. And so today we celebrate his teachings. We celebrate the understanding that we do not live in extremes, that we do not live in a way that judges people for who they are or what they are doing or who they are not and what they are not doing, but that we celebrate a life of moderation. We celebrate a life of respect for being exactly where we are and who we need to be. We celebrate living holiness in our lives. So may we continue to celebrate the holiness that we all share. May we celebrate the blessings that we have in one another. And may we celebrate, as a Jewish people, the privilege of getting to be honored, to count our blessings in our beloved Essex County.
Thank you so much, Rabbi Weisberg. At this time, I'd like to take a moment to introduce my commissioner colleagues who are joining us tonight. You've heard from President Wayne Richardson. We also have, you can hold your applause, I have a lot of names to mention. We have Commissioner Tashemi Cooper, Commissioner Romaine Graham, Vice President of the Board of Commissioners, Carlos Pomares, and we have with us Deborah Davis Ford, who is the clerk to the Board of Commissioners. And also in our audience, we have Assemblywoman Brittany Timberlake, whom I know well because she used to be a freeholder. And we have the mayor of my hometown of Livingston, the wonderful Ed Meinhardt, the mayor of Livingston. We have Eileen Fishman, and by the way, Ed Meinhardt was the president of Temple B'nai Abraham at one time. We also have Eileen Fishman, who is the director, Essex County Community Health Services. Juan Rivera, our Essex County Register. Jacqueline Jones, the Director of Human Resources. Valentina Richardson Green, the Director of Family Assistance Benefits. And Congresswoman Mikey Sherrill, whom I will introduce next. Because if you would join me, Congresswoman Mikey Sherrill. I have a few things to say before she speaks, and they are very important to me. Years ago, before Mikey Sherrill became a congresswoman, she and Jill Hirsch, who is being recognized tonight and is now her division director? District director, invited me to meet at Epicesson in Livingston. Mikey Sherrill was considering running for Congress. I met the two of them. We spent a long time talking. I learned all about Mikey Sherrill. She's a Navy Academy graduate. She flew a helicopter. She was a Navy pilot. Then she went to law school. She became a federal prosecutor. And now she lives in Montclair with her husband and 4 children. And Jill. And I have to tell you, after our conversation, I was so impressed, and I thought to myself, she really has to be, what? I thought to myself, Mikey Sherrill should really become a congresswoman. And fortunately, she did become a congresswoman, and she represents me. I was represented by someone terrible for many, many years. And I am just delighted that she is my congresswoman, and she is so wonderful, and she does such a great job for all of us in Washington.
Thank you, Pat. That was so nice. So you want me to start and I'll kick it over? Sure. Well, Pat is exactly right. Jill and I met each other at the bus stop around the corner. We both had children at Watchung Elementary School, and Jill and I were asked to do an artware program where our children made some art, and then they would sell for a fundraiser for the school mugs with the art on it, or placemats and stuff like that. And so whenever Jill is giving me a hard time, which is often, I remind her that she knew that dealing with me was going to be a tough job because she did artware with me and I was a disaster. At one time I lost the art. I had it all somewhere and somebody moved it. My husband, I'm like, I don't know where the art is. And so when Jill, like I said, is regretting her life's choices, I tell her it's really, she only has herself to blame. But that said, I will tell you, I go to town after town after town. I meet elected officials, I meet chiefs of police, I meet firefighters, I meet union members, and without fail, wherever I go, the first person that lights up their face is Jill Hirsch. She knows every one of them. She knows their kids. She knows what they're doing. She maybe or maybe hasn't had a few drinks with them on occasion. And if you think I'm lying, I like to take every moment I can to remind everybody that in 2019, I was Irish Woman of the Year of Essex County. Yes, that's right. And so imagine, I was invited to the governor's mansion this St. Patrick's Day to go see the ambassador from Ireland. And I thought, well, that's going to be really neat. And so I walked up to him and I said, Mr. Ambassador, I'm Mikey Sherrill, I'm a Congress member. And he goes, oh, I know. And I said, oh, really? And he goes, yeah, I just met Jill. Were you at Murph's or Duffy's? At Duffy's. I'm like, well, that's rich. She's not even Irish. But Jill's like that. She has the warmest personality. She's a wonderful person, and what she really does so well, and I think that's so important in times like this, is she lets you know she really cares about you. And she really does. She agonizes for hours over casework, over people that we need to help, over how we're going to help them. If we can't get them the resources they need, how we're going to figure that out. I think during some of the darkest days of COVID, people in our Washington, D.C. office occasionally stopped answering her calls because she was so hard on them. We need to get resources to New Jersey. And that's how hard she works for everyone. So it is truly an honor and truly a well-deserved award for Jill Hirsch today, because she truly, New Jersey would not be running the same way without her. And I, for one, feel really glad.
Thank you so much, Congresswoman. What Congresswoman Mikey Sherrill didn't mention, that she was recently in Ukraine and came back with a lot of important stories about what was going on there. She didn't talk much about what's going on in Washington, but she's really doing a terrific job there, and we're lucky to have her represent us. Throughout my time on the board, we've built a great rapport with the administration under the leadership of County Executive Joseph DiVincenzo. Through this partnership, we work hard every day to achieve the tagline of putting Essex County first. Today, we welcome County Administrator Robert Jackson, who will bring greetings on behalf of our county executive in his absence. So Robert, if you would come forth. I have one more thing to say about Robert. For those of you who live in Montclair, he used to be your mayor, and now no longer, but he's the wonderful county administrator. Robert, it's all yours.
Thank you, Commissioner. The county executive is out of state last week or so he was not able to be here today, and he regrets that he's not able to be here. He wanted desperately to do so, but he asked me to just stand in and bring greetings on his behalf, on not only his behalf, but the entire government of Essex County on these great nominees, and of course on celebrating Jewish American Heritage Month. I'm particularly impressed by to our commissioners who have selected three tremendous honorees. Rabbi Edwards, I've probably not had as much time to work with you or to meet you personally, but your work for social justice and particularly for refugees is well known, and it's really true to the spirit of TBA. I mean, the rabbis who have been there over the years, 169 years, have all seemed to be imbued with this sense of needing to help the least of these. And you certainly carry on in that great tradition, and you are most deserving of being honored. To my friend Karen Fryer, for those of you who don't know, that protective gear is actually mandatory whenever she comes into a public building. She's got to have meetings with crazy mayors like me and Joe D, and we're all trying to figure out why the day after Hurricane Sandy the lights aren't on. So, and we blame Karen for that or whatever, but we all, and she has to really be there, and she does her job so tremendously well with such grace and professionalism, and it isn't easy because you do catch the brunt of a lot of upsetness and anger at times, but you do it so well, and you're really a tribute to public service. And also too, I mean, people don't know you're a member of the ECUA board, and you're on so many other committees that they're not directly related to PSE&G. And I know too, you just lost your mom, and I'm sure she would be very proud to see you honored today. So congratulations. Finally, to Jill Hirsch, who I've had the pleasure really of working with on. She's been my constituent, I've been her constituent, as she works with Congresswoman Sherrill, who I should say, in my opinion, is a force of nature. her son Ike, and I came to visit his class one time as mayor, and I told him, I said, your mom is going to be president of the United States one day. And I fully believe that. So I'm on record as saying one day, President Cheryl, it's going to happen. I really feel that you have incredible leadership abilities. Your resume checks all the boxes, and I know, Jill, you're a driving force behind her, and you should be very proud. I've also, Jill, as a parent, Jill has had a few things to say to me about the public schools in Montclair, but good criticism and helpful suggestions, always constructive. Your academic background and your commitment to children, it just runs through and through. Not only just as a representative of Mikey, but on your own as a parent. So I'm very proud to say that I live in the same town that you do, and I just count it an honor to be here and to see all of you honored. So happy Jewish American Heritage Month, and commissioners, you couldn't have done a better job of picking 3 people. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Jackson, for bringing greetings on behalf of the county exec and for being here this evening to support our program. I am District 3 Commissioner Tashami Cooper, and I have the distinct pleasure of introducing our first honoree for tonight. And I know that I can say this for my colleagues and everybody else in the room. We're certainly happy to all be back together in person, celebrating people, and especially celebrating this wonderful group of people who has made some extraordinary accomplishments within the Jewish community here in Essex County. So the person that I'm honoring tonight is Jill Hirsch. We've already heard so many wonderful things that the Congresswoman has said about her, as well as Mr. Jackson. I'm going to give you just a few small highlights. Ms. Hirsch is currently the director for the office of Congresswoman Mikey Sherrill, which represents New Jersey's 11th district. She oversees the district office as well as constituent and political outreach. After graduating from the University of Pennsylvania with honors in earning a joint degree in law and social work, you know that was a lot of work, 2 degrees. From the Washington University in St. Louis, she started her career in the child welfare field, focusing on adoption law, domestic adoptions, and other foster care adoption matters. Whilst working as a staff attorney for the Legal Aid Society within the Juvenile Rights Division, she represented children in abuse, neglect, custody issues, guardianship issues, and general juvenile delinquency proceedings. She participated as a point attorney for the Legal Aid Society at the Harlem Community Justice Center within the Juvenile Intervention Court, and she worked in the community court, which was a pilot towards preventing recidivism for juveniles. She also worked on the Education Advocacy Project, which was a grant-funded project that focused on juvenile rights and early intervention for special education kids within the foster care community. She currently lives in Montclair with her husband, John, and her 2 children. And as if being a full-time mom, a wife, and working full-time for the Congresswoman wasn't enough, Jill is still working to serve kids within the foster and adoption agency by working as a court-appointed special advocate for children of Essex County. So, Ms. Hirsch, please join me at the podium while I read the plaque that says, the Essex County Board of County Commissioners hereby honors Jill Hirsch for embodying the spirit and pride of the Essex County Jewish community in celebration of Jewish Heritage Month. Thank you. You know, you often hear people talk about when a person walks into the room, how much the room lights up. Or when a person walks into the room, you feel their energy and you know that they're here. Well, that's Jill Hirsch. I can't say enough that her energy just radiates off of her, her warmth, her smile, her support, and just her love for community, and not wavering to fight for her kids or anybody else's kids in need. So, Ms. Hirsch, here is your plaque, and we have a wonderful for you. before you, speak, Carlos Palmeras, my vice president, would like to say some words as well.
You didn't think you were going to get away with that, did you? Good evening, everyone, and it's a special evening. Congratulations to all of the honorees. Congresswoman and I share a lot of the same constituents areas, and so as a result, I've had the pleasure of working with Jill for a few years now. I remember meeting her on a campaign trail. And so before I talk about what I'm going to give you, I would like to say that at one point, she told me I was her favorite commissioner.
It's a bad room for that.
Yeah, you're not getting away from this one. So she did say I was her favorite commissioner, and I thought that was really neat. And that was until Pat Siebold said, you know, Jill Hirsch thinks I'm the favorite commissioner here. And I go, really? I said, well, I love Pat, so I'm not going to make a stink out of it. And then I think at...
Who's my favorite now?
I'm getting her. And then at a recent event that I hosted, Brendan Gill shared with us that he thought he was the favorite commissioner. And the three of us were there standing, scratching our heads, and we realized that none of us are her favorite commissioners. Now Tashami Cooper, who is her favorite commissioner. And so that's okay. We're a little all upset and verklempt, if you will, but we're gonna do that. But the real reason why I'm here is actually, as you very well know, I represent Bloomfield. This is my hometown, and I started in a Bloomfield Council. And so I wanted to share with you on behalf of Mayor Michael Venezia and the councilors, let's see, I'll get everyone right, Jenny Mundell, Sarah Cruz, Nick Joanno, Dr. Davis, Rich Rockwell, and Ted Gamble. These are all my good friends, but they have come to love Jill as much as I do, although I don't think she's created a stink about who's the favorite council person in Bloomfield. But they wanted me, since I'm like the eighth man off the bench over there, to present you with an official Bloomfield proclamation because of all the great work that you do with Congresswoman in Bloomfield. So we wanted to make sure that we share some Bloomfield love your way.
Thank you.
And I will now take my bruised ego over there and have a seat that I'm no longer the commissioner.
And then I just want to, Jill is going to die because she presents a lot of these, but I am going to present one to Jill. And you can check the signature, it's real.
Maybe I made that. What do you want me to do?
Yeah, hold them.
Hold them up? Oh, yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you. I don't know how I can top that. What? All right. Thank you so much for this, everybody. I want to thank my friends on the Board of Commissioners. As you've just heard, I have quite a few, and my best friend on the Board of Commissioners. Thank you for nominating me, Commissioner Cooper, but I do really love everybody on the Board of Commissioners. It is true, and I've had the privilege of working with this board over the past several years, especially during COVID, and I know how, like just going to the food banks every week and the vaccination sites, how everybody works so hard. I think that Mikey and I have been to so many, and we're just impressed by just everybody showing up in the darkest times. And I know that you all are extremely dedicated to this county and the residents in it, and everybody here is truly wonderful people. And I'm also so happy for my friends who have come to see me and other elected officials. So thank you. And I want to say a big mazel tov to my fellow nominees, Rabbi Max and Karen. You both do such incredible work for our community, and we're blessed to have you here. Receiving this honor has caused me to give some thought to how my experience as a Jew is connected to the work that I do every day working with the New Jersey 11 constituents and my other volunteer work. And if there's one enduring value particular to Jewish life generally, and more specifically to my own experience, it's the importance of community, which we're all seeing here tonight. From the most sacred ancient Jewish texts to the modern history of Jewish participation in social movements, we see countless examples of Jewish faith calling its people to stand up and do their part for the greater good of their communities. And I think this board and everybody here is doing just that. Following in the tradition, my own identity is inextricably tied to my place in my community. I've served in a number of roles, as you heard, that have allowed me to live my values and work on behalf of the most vulnerable members of my community. But no role has provided me the opportunity to respond to the needs and improve the lives of the people of my community as I've been able to do these past several years, during which I've had the honor of serving as district director for New Jersey's 11th Congressional District. So to that end, I want to give a shout out and a thank you to my friend, Mikey Sherrill, for inviting me on this journey with her, and also a special thank you to my family who's here, for encouraging us, I would say both of us, standing by me and supporting all the late nights and the endless calls that they have to put up with while I do this work. So thank you, and thanks again.
Congratulations to one of my best friends, Jill. I said congratulations to one of my best friends, Jill. And I want to add one. What? Absolutely, absolutely. And I just want to add one more thing to the story before I continue with my introduction for the second honoree. Karen Fire, who's being recognized tonight, I've known for probably 30 years. You know how I first met her? You're not going to believe it. She was living in West Orange, and she had a party at her house for Joe DiVincenzo, who was running for office. And I was very good friends with Joe, and I went with him to this party, and I met Karen for the first time at her house in West Orange. So that's how long we know each other. And now I will go on, because at this time, it's my pleasure to introduce our second honoree for tonight's program. So please join me in welcoming Rabbi Max Edwards. Max, if you'll come up here. I will share some of the details from the commendations. First of all, Rabbi Max Edwards is fairly new to Temple B'nai Abraham. How long is it? 2 years. 2 years. So that's fairly new, 2 years. Rabbi Edwards is the assistant rabbi at Temple B'nai Abraham in Livingston. Prior to his rabbinic ordination from Hebrew College Rabbinical School in Newton, Massachusetts, he received a Master's of Theological Studies from Harvard Divinity School and a Bachelor of Arts from Macalester College in St. Paul, Minnesota. His approach to congregational life is greatly informed by his experience as a hospital chaplain. In the course of his rabbinical studies, he completed 2 units of clinical pastoral education at Brigham and Women's Hospital in Boston, Massachusetts. In his role at B'nai Abraham, he is involved in a number of initiatives. Aside from service, leading, regular teaching, and providing pastoral care, he has worked with his clergy colleagues to increase the community's role in social justice causes. He co-led a group of congregants through a community-wide listening campaign as part of New Jersey Together, and is currently working with Refugee Assistant Partners New Jersey, that's RAP-NJ, to explore options for refugee settlement in the Livingston area. Your record of service is beyond reproach, so we are pleased to present you with the board's commendation and plaque. The plaque reads, "The Essex County Board of County Commissioners hereby honors Rabbi Max Edwards for embodying the spirit and pride of the Essex County Jewish community. So in celebration of Jewish Heritage Month, May 19th, 1922, we present you with this commendation, and we are so proud to have you here tonight. I also have a citation from Mikey Sherrill.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Siebel. Because I don't know many of the commissioners that well, I think you're all my best friends. That's the assumption that I have to go on. So it's an honor to be here. I want to thank the Board of County Commissioners for this honor and really for recognizing the diversity in Essex County, not just in May, but every month, the work you do throughout the year. And I notice it, and I appreciate it as one of your residents. I'm grateful to be up here with Jill and Karen. Mazel tov to both of you as well, and your families on this honor and the important work that you do in New Jersey as well. So as a rabbi at B'nai Abraham, I would say it's doubly meaningful for me to receive this award in Newark, where we are about 1.5 miles, someone correct me if I'm wrong, as the crow flies, from the building which Temple B'nai Abraham occupied for 50 years. There's a storied history, a storied Jewish history in Essex County that I'm what they call a transplant from Minnesota. Even way, way, way in the heartland, we hear names like Prince and Green, and Ginsburg, and Rabbi Jody Cohen, the first woman to serve a pulpit in Connecticut, born and raised in Newark. These are my historical role models of being a Jewish Essex County resident. And within this region of New Jersey, this is really a microcosm of the American Jewish story. As I was reflecting on it, the experience of Jews in Newark and Essex County, this is a story of struggle and a story of success. But perhaps even more important than what was, this is an opportunity, this history presents us with an opportunity to dream of what will be. For us all to write those next chapters amongst the dynamic leaders in this county. As you now know, my best friends. And I look forward to being a part of this continuing work at TBA alongside my colleague, Rabbi David Weisberg, and my other clergy colleague, Cantor Jessica Epstein. And I'm excited for the prospect of working with this distinguished board to bring our shared values of tzedek and chesed, of justice and kindness further into the world. I want to thank you. I want to thank my fiancée Evie for being here with me, and just a wonderful evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Rabbi Edwards. Let's give my bestie another round of applause. At this time, we will bring back our musical performer for tonight. Before she makes her way up to the podium, I want to give you a little background about her. Perry Smilo is a composer of contemporary Jewish music. She's an educator, community organizer, and nonprofit entrepreneur. She uses her music as a tool for social change. And she is a member of Temple Ner Tamid. Please forgive me if I mispronounced that.
In Bloomfield. Temple Ner Tamid in Bloomfield, where one of my many best friends live.
Your other bestie, your bestie over there, lives in Bloomfield, where she has led the Jewish High Holidays worship experience for the past 15 years. In her non-music life, she serves as the executive director of Shards of Light, a philanthropic organization that supports racial equity, justice, and women's health, progressive Jewish congressional life, and the Jewish arts. She is the proud mother of a fabulous college-age daughter. Please join me again in welcoming soloist Perry Smilo.
While he's setting that up, can you hear me? Okay, so thank you. It's totally my honor to be here tonight. 3 hours ago, I was not expected to be here. I bring greetings from my colleague, Cantor Meredith Greenberg, who was to have been here tonight, whose son tested positive for COVID this morning, and it's to my great delight that I get to be here with you instead. She would have wanted me to say Mazel Tov to all of the honorees. And the song I'm going to share with you now, I'm going to tell you very, very brief because we've got more program coming. But there is an ancient story from the Old Testament. And we've all seen the movie where Moses puts his arm up and the waters part, allowing the Hebrew children to pass through those waters. But there's another story that's told about that very moment in history. And that is that perhaps those leaders who were responsible for getting the people across to freedom, maybe they were busy. Maybe they were making sure everybody was fed, making sure that everybody had clothing and that they were warm. And if that were the case, then what really happened? How did they get across? And this song tells that story. And it reminds us that all of us have to take one small step. I refuse to have a guitar that is out of tune, so please forgive me. It is just a wooden item in a wet location. You're among best friends, don't worry about it. I love that. I love that. But this isn't about me tonight. Here we go. Nachshon ben Aminadav was just one face in the crowd. He was tired and he was hungry, scared but he was proud. He had walked across the desert to escape slavery, and now he's caught between his taskmasters and the waters of the Red Sea. Pharaoh and his army were coming up fast from behind, and the Israelites were arguing. They were of two minds. Some said, we should turn around, go back to what we know. Slavery can't be half as bad as drowning. You gotta take one small step. One small step, you gotta take one small step for freedom. You've gotta take one small step. One small step, you got to take one small step for freedom. Pharaoh and his army were coming up fast from behind, and the Israelites were arguing. They were of two minds. Some said, we should turn around, go back to what we know, slavery. You've got to take what? One small step. Try it with me. One small step you got to take. One small step for freedom, for freedom. You've got to take what? One small step. Try it again. One small step you got to take. One small step for freedom. The other side, well, they were very few, said, no, this cannot be. We can't go back. We've come so far in fleeing slavery. If you just stay put, I think you'll find that God will make a move. And the Israelites went wandering. One small step, one small step you got to take. One small step for freedom you've got to take. One small step. One small step you got to take, one small step for freedom. Well, no one noticed Nachshon over by the rippling tide. He had one foot in the water, his shoes at his side. He took one step, then the other, till he barely could breathe. And just when the world went dark, the waters parted, and we were free. 'Cause he took one small step. What did he take? One small step you got to take. One small step for freedom you've got to take. One small step. One small step you got to take, one small step for freedom. You've got to take what? Got to take what? You got to take what? One small step for freedom. You've got to take one small step. You got to take one small step. You got to take one small step for freedom. Thank you, and Mazel Tov, and especially to our bestie from Temple Ner Tamid. Congratulations.
We got to take what? All right. No, thank you so much for that wonderful performance. At this time, it is my pleasure to introduce our final honoree for tonight's program. Please join me in welcoming Karen Fryer to the podium. And all of you claim Jill as your bestie. I'm claiming Karen. So allow me to share a few details from the commendation. And this is really incredible. I don't know how you. Karen is currently a regional public affairs manager with PSENG. She provides strategic communications, problem solving, public policy support, and provides testimony at commissioner and town council hearings. Additionally, she manages relationships at local levels with public officials and stakeholders to support the PSENG Regional Public Affairs team. During her career in the energy sector, she has held a variety of leadership roles, including Vice President of Government Relations with Parsons Bickenoff, Manager of State Governmental Relationships with Abasco Services, Commissioner and Vice Chairwoman of the Essex County Utilities Authority, and Energy Analyst with the New Jersey State Department of Energy. She also is a member of several civic and community-based organizations, including the Morris Essex Mental Health Association, the World Trade Center Scholarship Fund, the Newark Workforce Investment Board, the Morris Chamber of Commerce Businesswomen's Committee, and New Jersey Business Alliance. Wow. Your record of service is beyond reproach, and we are pleased to present you with the board's commendation and plaque. And the plaque reads, again, I don't see how you have time to do all that stuff. The Essex County Board of Commissioners hereby honors my best friend, Karen Fryer for embodying the spirit and pride of Essex County Jewish community in celebration of Jewish Heritage Month, May 19th, 2022. We have a resolution from the Board of Commissioners and one from Congresswoman Mikey Sherrill.
Thank you.
Please take your. Oh, wait. Wait a minute. Hold on. You only need one good one. All right.
Well, the last word. I am so humbled and honored to be with all of you. Each of you is my new best friend. However, my humblest roots started in this great city of Newark, where I was born at the Beth. I have lived a rich heritage, starting as an Orthodox Jewish woman at 636 High Street in Newark, where my father, Stanley Fryer, had a grocery store on Prince Street. I grew up School of Hard Knocks. When we lived through the uprising in 1967, I was a young woman. The emotional stain that was left on my heart and soul as I saw that beautiful, beautiful Jewish market gone. With it was a big part of my father, who suffered depression for many years after at the loss of his beautiful city. What that did to me, it caused me to want to bring my Judaism as a woman, tikkun olam, to heal, to build. And I've been so blessed having a career in the infrastructure world, where I proudly wear my hard hat, PSEG, and not a kippah, not a sheitel, but a hat where I can go and serve my community. I can help rebuild infrastructure projects like the substations that were wiped out with Superstorm Sandy in places like Hoboken and at the shore. And with each project that we complete, I look up, I pray. I thank Hashem, I thank God for giving me the strength as a Jewish woman, as a mother of 3 strong young adults who also follow that heritage and help the community. And I will be short and sweet and just thank each and every one of the Board of Commissioners for this esteemed honor, for Assemblywoman Timberlake for being here, for Congresswoman Sherrill. And I now have a new soul sister who I will now invite to introduce me to everyone in Monmouth County, where I now live, because, you know, you could teach me a couple of tricks. So mazel tov to all of our honorees. Thank you, Mayor Meinhardt Livingston, for attending this evening. And I just want to share love. Thank you all so much.
let's hear it again for my bestie. No, to all the honorees, well-deserved, your pillars of the community. And to Jill, I always thought I was your, anyway. Yeah, he is. My VP. There you go. There you go. As this program comes to a close, I want to once again congratulate all the honorees. We appreciate the work, time, and commitment you have displayed to make Essex County what it is today. As previously stated, we are both happy and fortunate that we are once again able to hold events like this in person. We've certainly had our challenges over the last 2 years, but we have been able to pivot, persevere, and proceed with important occasions such as our celebration of Jewish Heritage Month, and properly recognize our neighbors who have made tangible differences in our community. Thank you all. Well wishes to all those who participated in the program. Rabbi David Weisberg, please close with a prayer.
Thanks, friend.
Thank you, sir. My other new bestie.
Oh, yes. It's good to be among friends. It's a big old love fest. This is wonderful. So you can't do this on Zoom, right? No, you could type BFF into the chat. It's just not the same. This is better. We have a blessing in Judaism for when we see a multitude of people, a whole lot. And I believe the number is 600,000 or greater, but I think the principle stands with fewer. And the blessing thanks God for being the one who knows secrets. Understanding that when you see a lot of folks, what you should know is that each of them has a story. And God knows those stories, and we should get to know those stories too. Tonight we have celebrated 3 remarkable people with remarkable stories, and they make it their business of getting to know other people's stories and finding out with those stories how they can best help them. It's a privilege to get to celebrate Jill and Karen and Max this evening. And it's a privilege to get this annual celebration for Jewish Heritage Month to be able to celebrate the stories of people who make the Jewish people proud. May we be inspired by this evening and know that we have a lot of stories to get to know. We have a lot of BFFs to make. So may we give thanks this evening for the privilege of getting to know others, for the privilege of celebrating others. And may we know that there is much work ahead of us. There are a lot of people to get to know, because we have a job to do, which is to bring the comfort and sense of connection and appreciation that we have here to this nation and to this world. So may we be blessed in our efforts. May we be strengthened with what's ahead. And may we soon know a world where every human being can be celebrated as we have celebrated this evening. Thank you. I believe that means it's time to eat.